Let's go.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Basham Kakdash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of the Great Millstone, and salutations to those who elect. All right, Lord willing, you can hear me in this audio. All right, I got the headphones in today. But this topic is going to be speaking about the mark of the beast. You know, I recently, I went to sleep because it's 3 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, and I went to sleep because it's late in the morning. But I before I went to sleep, I seen Elder Apostle, no, Salaki, not Elder Apostle. I seen the Elder Amon Gabar from the main camp. I seen his lesson, short lesson about, you know, these other Israelite groups not teaching about what the mark of the beast really is. You know, whether they know what the mark of the beast is or not, woe unto them for not teaching that, because these supposed to be the watchmen, the prophets, right? But they don't even know what the mark of the beast is. Clearly, come to show you that a lot of these Israelite camps, you know, don't have the truth, and they're really false prophets, and it's evident. So I'm gonna open up with this scripture here, the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 3. It says, "Blessed is he that readeth and that heareth the words of this prophecy, and keepeth those things which are therein, for the time is at hand." So the blessing is not holding the Bible in your hand and just reading it. The blessing comes from understanding what you're reading. And obviously these Israelite camps don't understand what they're reading. They don't understand prophecy, right? Because they're not telling you what the mark of the beast is. And that, like I said earlier, that could be because either they understand it or not, because you do have Israelite groups out there that's paid off by Esau Edom, the so-called white man. You know, he pays them off to hide the fact of what the mark of the beast is. So in this lesson, we're gonna go into what the MOTB is. Okay, Lord willing, this short, edifying, to the point. Now, the MOTB, like it's been taught at Great Millstone, and like those that follow Great Millstone will teach it, the MOTB, or the mark of the beast, right? MOTB for short, is the RFID microchip. Okay, and the reason why it's the RFID microchip, not because I'm just speaking on my ass and saying it, or not because GMS is just saying it to say it. It's because it's conducive to prophecy, meaning that it lines up with the prophecy of Revelation 13 and 16 and 17, because you will not be able to buy and sell unless you have the RFID microchip in the future. Okay, what WEF, the World Economic Forum, right? The World Health Organization, they in agreement with the beast system, and what they're trying to implement is similar to China's social credit system, to where you know, certain privileges and certain access is going to be given to people that in society that have high social credit scores, and then people that have lower social credit scores, restrictions are going to be placed on them. Okay, so before I get into Revelation 13:16, let's look that up in chat. Let's look that up. China social credit system. Let's look that up. See, they gave me the fast answer. But see, I like how they put it. The first one, it says China's social credit system is often misunderstood. Contrary to popular portrayals, there is no single nationwide score that every Chinese citizen receives. Instead, it is a collection of government and local programs that aim to encourage compliance with law and regulations and penalize certain forms of misconduct. Right? And that's what it is. You know, those that don't comply with the powers that be, they get penalized, man. And those penalties come with restrictions. They block your access to buying plane ticket, train ticket. You know what I'm saying? They block your access to certain services and businesses in society. Okay, and that's what's coming into this beast system, right? Especially over in America, they're gonna block certain. They're gonna penalize you by blocking your ability to purchase, your ability to buy and sell, man, which is completely cutting you off from society. Okay, it said key features include no universal citizen score. Although some cities experiment with point-based systems, China does not currently operate a single nation numerical score for every person. But that's coming because that's the B system. Is going to be a social credit system where every citizen is gonna, they're gonna penalize citizens for not complying, with the powers that be, that's not complying to governmental programs and governmental procedures. They're gonna get penalized, man, and that penalizing is blocking them from buying and selling certain things, you know, or putting restrictions on what they can buy and sell. Okay. It says focus on legal and regulatory compliance. The system primarily targets individuals and businesses that violate law, regulations, or court orders. Okay, so anybody, whether you a business or a person, all right, you will be penalized and this is talking about the China social credit system, by the way, but it's trickling down also to the B system, because they're gonna, the same way how they penalize you in the China social credit system, they're gonna penalize you in the B system, whether you were, like I said, a business or an individual person. It says court blacklist. One of the most significant components is a blacklist for people who refuse to comply with court judgments, right? And in the B system, that's going to correlate in the B system to individuals that refuse to get the MOTB. Okay, individuals that refuse to get that implantable device in their right hand on their forehead, right? They're going to be blacklisted in the B system. It says sometimes called discredited persons. Those on the list may face restrictions such as purchasing certain airlines or high-speed rail tickets. I told you, they block your ability to buy a plane ticket. They block your ability to buy a train ticket. See, they restricting your access to buying and selling. See what I'm saying? So it's the same thing that's gonna happen. Mind you, we're reading about the China social credit system, what goes on within the China social credit system. So it's gonna be applied to the B system that's gonna be implemented in the West and all around the world. Okay, you're gonna have individuals that's blacklisted. Those that and the ones that's gonna be blacklisted are the believers. Those that refuse to get the MOTB. Those refuse that get that implantable device. They're gonna be blacklisted, which meaning they're gonna be cut off from buying and selling, not restricted. They're gonna be completely cut off, right? And that includes work, because buying and selling is commerce, that's business, but it also deal with you receiving income, right? You receiving a check. You won't be able to receive a check from work. You won't be able to work without having that implantable device in you in the B system. So you're going to be completely cut off from society if you don't get that MOTB, right? And there's going to be individuals in the world that don't get it, but see, the difference between the believers and those in the world is the ones that don't get it, the ones that are blacklisted, right, in the B system, they eventually is going to comply, the people in the world, because the Holy Spirit is not dealing with them. So they're gonna break and they're gonna fold on the Esau system, and they're gonna comply. See, it reminds me of 1984. Not to get into it, I'm not gonna get into it because I haven't read that in a while. But I haven't read that in a while. I'm not gonna get into it because I want to make sure that we don't get off track of topic. But the point being here is that same way how you have people that's blacklisted in the China social credit system, and they restricted from buying plane tickets or train tickets. Look, it says even obtaining obtaining some loans or serving as company executives. so they can't even get certain jobs or can't even get loans because they're on the blacklist. So that's what's gonna happen to individuals that don't get the MOTB, that don't get that implantable device. Certain jobs you won't be able to have a job, really any job, right? You can't borrow any money. You can't take out any money from the bank. You can't do no business with the banks. You know, you won't be able to buy, purchase anything, and that's not just going for uh train tickets or plane tickets. You know, you won't be able to buy groceries. You won't be able to order online like we do on Amazon or on TikTok. You know, you won't be able to do any of that because all that's going to require you to have that implantable device. Because all forms of businesses and services are going to comply with the B system, and they're going to be a part rather of the B system. So all the payments that you're going to be doing in society, that's going to happen in the future, all payments and payouts is going to be via through the way of the RFID CHIP, okay? Because when you working, they're gonna pay you not on your card, not on your credit card, not on your debit card, not on your bank account. They're gonna pay you on your CHIP because that's gonna hold your banking information, okay? When you want to make purchases, they're gonna ask you for your CHIP, okay? They're gonna ask you when you go into the grocery store, when you go inside the gym, right? When you want to pay a bill for a particular, a light bill, a gas bill, phone bill, like you going to pay your bill, right? You go in the gym to pay the gym bill, okay? Or you want to pay a gym bill, right? It's gonna be through the way of the RFID CHIP, okay? The gym is not a good example. I would say just bills, right? If you go in to pay a light bill or a phone bill or your internet bill, right? Might go to the check cashing place, or you might send the money online. But in the B system, it's going to be weighed through the RFID CHIP, okay? Through the RFID technology. So you're going to have that implanted in you in order for you to make payments, or in order for you to pay your bills, okay? In order for you to pay your bills in the B system, you're gonna have to have that RFID implantable device inside of you. All right. So the ones that's blacklisted in the B system are the ones that's not gonna get the MOTB, the mark of the beast, and in turn, they're not gonna be able to buy and sell anything. It says business regulations. Companies are also subject to credit records that track compliance with tax, environmental, labor, and safety regulations. Good compliance can make business easier, while violations can trigger increased inspections or penalties, right? So that's why these businesses now correlate that to the B system. That's why these businesses are going to comply, because they understand that there's going to be penalties. It's going to hurt their business. It's going to hurt they business not to comply with the powers that be. You see what I'm saying? They probably might get shut down, or they, you know what I'm saying, or they'll be restricted in how they do their services, you know. But the point is, it's gonna hurt their business if they don't comply with the beast, if they don't comply with the B system and do business by way of that RFID CHIP. Okay, it's gonna hurt their business. It says data sharing. It says different government agencies share information to enforce regulation more efficiently, right? So that's dealing with that surveillance, right? That big brother surveillance system. Because how would they have data information on you, right? Through surveillance. They're gonna watch and monitor. You know, people got bank accounts, all these different accounts, gym account, bank account, you know, internet account, every accounts, records of people information. They're gonna share that with the powers that be, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be on a totally different level than what we understand now. Like, yeah, there's many companies, especially social media companies, that do data sharing, but it's gonna be on a totally different level, man. You know what I'm saying? They not gonna be just data sharing to keep tabs on you. They're gonna data share to enforce, you know, whether to enforce, you know, penalties on you or not, penalty on businesses or not. You know what I'm saying? And individuals. So it's gonna be data sharing on a more aggressive level. You know what I'm saying? Where the data sharing, the information can bring penalties on businesses, man. You know, because they're gonna get penalized for how they conduct business if they doing it not in the way that's not the way it should be done in the B system. Not the way how the powers that be would want it done. Okay, because remember the B system, which is going to be a social credit system, is going to be globalized all around the world. So it's not just going to be only in America. It's going to be in all four corners of the earth. Okay, so data sharing, all right, going to be in a more aggressive form, and it's going to come with penalties, okay, to businesses that violate the regulations that's set by the powers that be, okay. And it's going to be a AI surveillance state too, because they're going to use AI technology and different cameras and the help of computers to monitor and watch everybody and to make sure everybody is C-hipped, got that implantable device, and they're going to be able to detect. Their cameras going to be able to their surveillance technology rather is going to be able to detect those who have it and those who don't. Okay, so this B system, right, is the future, and this is what the infrastructure that they're trying to say that they're trying to build, right? This is Etar Enterprise. This is what he wants to do. This is why they have the AI data centers, right? They saying that the AI data centers is swallowing up all the water and creating a water shortage. That's not the truth, because the AI data centers is going to be powering is going to be used for the B system. It's going to be used for the microchip. Okay, so it's not swallowing up all your water. All right. The water is, what I'm saying, it's not doing that. The AI data centers is for the B system. So Esau is clearly lying to you. The media is lying. You know what I'm saying? They clearly lying, man. It says the system had drawn both support and criticism. Now it says supporters argue that improves. Now we talking about the China social credit system, right? It says supporters argue that it improves enforcement of court judgments, reduces fraud and financial misconduct, and encourages businesses and individuals to comply with the laws. So those that support it is going to be the same thing with the B system. You're going to have individuals that's going to be down with the B system. They're going to be so willing and so excited to take the C-hip. So excited and so willing, not just businesses, but people when they and then they narrow-minded brains is gonna make sense to them to take the C-hip. They're not gonna see anything wrong with taking that C-hip. All right, taking that implantable device, they're gonna see anything wrong with that. Those are just supporters, right? Now the critics argue, like it says here, now we're going back to the China social credit system. It says critics argue that it raises significant concerns about privacy and government surveillance, may lack transparency in how some decisions are made, could be used to restrict freedom or disproportionately punish certain behaviors, especially when combined with extensive surveillance technology. Okay, so these are the ones the critics are the ones that's going to stand against the B system. These are the ones who the government is going to blacklist. They're going to call them extremists, terrorists, right? They're going to blacklist them, and in turn, they're going to also be thrown in concentration camps. You know what I'm saying? To try to re-educate them or rehabilitate them into complying with the B system, because that's how they're gonna. These are the words they're gonna use to try to sell it to the people, right? Like, oh, we just rehabilitating those people, or we re-educating those people. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time they're gonna be doing all manner of torture to us to try to break your spirit, to try to get you to be willing to take that mark, because you got to understand, Esau can't force you to take it. He has to persuade you to take it, and he knows that on the left hand side he can't force nobody to persuade it. It's not gonna count. He has to persuade you to take it, right? You have to take it on your own free will. You gotta be the one to make that decision. Really, it's that will of the Heavenly Father, but that decision got to be made by you. You got to decide, hey, I'm gonna take this chip or not. You know what I'm saying? And why I say it's the will of the Heavenly Father, because the Lord is ultimately gonna decide who gets the chip and who doesn't, because the ones who the Lord don't want to get to see him, he gonna put the spirit on them not to take it, to refuse it, to accept being blacklisted, to accept going into the concentration camps, and he's gonna keep that spirit on, that rebellious spirit, that defiant spirit, to rebel and defy the beast system. All right, but the ones who the Lord is not dealing with and don't love, he's not gonna put that rebellious spirit in them. He's gonna let them be, and eventually Esau Edom, so-called white man, is gonna break them, right, in them concentration camps. And the same critics that stood against the system is then gonna comply with it. Talking about the people in the world, the critics that are in the world, because they like I said earlier, they don't have the Holy Spirit. So the critics in the world, the ones that's gonna stand against the beast system in the world, they're gonna comply. They're gonna get broken. Because that's what the concentration camp is. It's designed to break your spirit. It's designed to break your spirit and to make you reconsider and also getting chipped. That was the whole design of it, to break your spirit. That's why Trump is building on these concentration camps, right? Using these warehouse facilities to build concentration camps. He spinning it off as if he gonna put illegal immigrants in there, but really they're gonna be concentration camps, and they're gonna put those that are blacklisted, those that are rebels, right? That gonna be labeled extremists and terrorists for not getting the MOTB, for not getting the RFID chip inside of them. Okay, he gonna put them in there. It says, but yeah, this is what the B system is, right? It says raises significant concerns about privacy and government surveillance, right? That's that AI surveillance that's gonna, AI technology and these different cameras just watching you constantly, 24/7, watching all your moves and everything you do, but it's gonna be way more advanced than what we see now. Way more advanced, man. Way more advanced. Okay, it's not going to be any privacy in the B system, man. They might put cameras in your in your apartment. I speak as a man when I say they might put, but it's true. They might put cameras in your apartment. You know what I'm saying? And be watching you through your apartment. Like little cameras all throughout buildings. They might the government, the powers that be, might tell landlords and people that own buildings, like, hey, you need to put these little cameras throughout people's apartments as part of government regulation or government rules. You know what I'm saying? That, we got to put these little cameras inside people's apartments. And the whole time they put in different and the landlord's gonna comply, because they don't want to lose their apartment. I mean, in their building or that land that they got. So they're gonna, a building that they have, really. You know what I'm saying? Or house, right? So they're gonna comply, and they're gonna put these cameras inside people's homes, and they're gonna be secretly watching you. You know what I'm saying? Everything you doing in your crib. And it's gonna be recording not only what you're doing, but it's also gonna be hearing what you're saying. So any little slick remarks that you're saying against the government or the power that be, they're gonna penalize you for that. Like, oh yeah, you said this, then the third. We got you recorded. Total no privacy in that day. No privacy, man. Privacy gonna be done away with in the B system. It says, continuing on, now we reading about the China social credit system. It says, may lack transparency in how some decisions are made, right? Because it's going to be complete control of the elites. They the ones that's puppeteering or controlling the government. So the elites is gonna tell the government on what to do. Oh, make this regulation, make these regulations, make the people do this, make the people do that. You know, they do it now, but like I said, it's gonna be on a totally different level because now it's gonna be complete control. Because now they could just shut off your CHIP. They could shut off that RFID. And now you can't buy and sell anything. Now you can't do no business. Now you can't work. Now you can't pay bills. Now you can't pay rent. See? So it says may lack transparency in how some decisions are made. All right, so that they don't have to, tell they could do it how they want to, man. They don't gotta tell anybody anything. It's complete control. Right? It says could be used to restrict freedoms or disproportionately punish certain behaviors, especially when combined with extensive surveillance technologies. And that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna restrict your access to certain things because it's gonna be in levels. Because Esau deal with gradualism, so like he on one level he gonna restrict access to certain things. You might not be able to buy certain foods or buy certain foods or certain goods. You might not be able to sell certain things. Then it might go a step further to where he's blocking your access to travel. Now you can't buy buy a plane ticket, buy a train ticket. You can't travel. You know what I'm saying? He suspended your driver's license, and then it might go even up step further to where it's like you totally blacklisted. Like you can't own a driver's license. You can't get a license to be a practitioner in any field. Can't buy a plane ticket, a train ticket. You can't pay your bills. You can't buy groceries. Like you just completely blacklisted. Which means you ostracized, you cut off from society by way of not of restrict or cutting you off of how you buy and sell. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't buy and sell anything, you basically cut off. Can't do anything in society. Okay? So that's coming. So I brought up, the Spirit had me bring up the China social credit system that give you a glimpse of how the beast system is going to be, man. It's going to be similar. That's the key word. Similar to the social credit system, right? But much worse, more draconian, meaning that it's going to be more harsher penalties than what you see in the China social credit system. So it says, in summary, China's social credit system is best understood as a network of blacklists, compliance databases, and administrative penalties, rather than the often depicted idea of every citizen having a constantly changing social score. But see, that's what the B system is going to be, right? Every citizen is going to have a social credit score, right? And if your social credit score is high, you're going to be given certain benefits and access, privileges that those with a low social credit score doesn't have. The same way with a regular credit score. When your credit score is good, you're able to rent certain apartments in nicer neighborhoods. You're able to get cars, right, at a better price. You're able to take out, get better loans with lower interest rates. You know what I'm saying? Get good deals on houses, all because you have a good credit score, man. So a social credit score going to run the same way. With a good social credit score, right, you're going to be given certain privileges that others don't have. They might give it to where, like, if you have a high social credit score, you get discounts in businesses going to do that. Those with a higher social credit score, phone companies, tech companies, different companies are going to offer discounts and deals for those individuals. But those with a lower social credit score, right, they're going to be treated like shit. they're gonna be treated like shit. Their access to certain things is restricted. Same thing how with a credit score, right? If you have a bad credit score, you can't really buy certain cars, right? You can't get a good you can't take out loans with a good interest rate or even take out a loan at all, right? You can't really get a good deal on a mortgage. You can't really get you can't move into a nice neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? With a bad credit score, right? And even some phone companies, you won't even be able to get on certain plans because you have a bad credit score, because phone companies run your credit check. So yeah, it's it restricts your access with a bad credit score. And you brothers and sisters know, it restricts your access to certain things in society, right? So it's the same thing with a social credit score, right? A bad social credit score is going to restrict your access to certain things in society, and it's going to be things like you can't buy a plane ticket, you can't buy a train ticket. You know what I'm saying? You won't be able to buy certain foods, that you enjoy. They might say, hey, you can't get no red meat. You know, you can't buy certain. You can't buy the you know what I'm saying? Certain foods. They be like, oh no, you can't get organic. You got a low social credit score. You gotta get generic. You gotta get store bought brand. You gotta get the cheap stuff. And they're gonna be able to control all of this and tell you what to buy and not to buy, right? Because they're gonna have complete control over your RFID chip. They can shut it off and turn it on at will. And they're gonna give you a universal base income. So, those that blacklisted, they can easily, another penalty that they could do is they could not give you any credits. Because that's what's gonna be in the B system, credits. They get like a video game, it's gonna be credits. So they're not gonna give you, not a video game, because this is not a game, this is real life. You know what I'm saying? And this is serious, right? But I'm just sharing that idea for you to understand. They're gonna give you credits, okay? This is dead serious, all right? Just to make that point, okay? So in the B system, the people that get the RFID chip, they're gonna get credits, and one of the penalties that the powers that be is gonna do is they could literally not give you credits for the month. It might be a monthly thing. It might be every 2 weeks. I don't know how they're gonna release the credits, but they can stop it to it. Let's say it's every month, right? I speak as a man when I say that. Let's say it's every month they give you credits. They might stop it to where like they give you, let's say 2,000 credits. They can literally not give you credits for the next month. The same way how you get SSI and you get paid every month a certain amount. A fixed income is the same concept. They're gonna have credits. Give you a certain amount of credits a month. You know what I'm saying? And they can completely not give you no credits. So now, without any credits, in a digital-based currency system, you can't buy anything, because digital currency is gonna be the new form of money. I'm gonna say that again. Digital currency is gonna be the new form of money. Digital currency, Slovakia, is gonna be the new form of money. Okay, so it says. In summary, China's social credit system is best understood as a network of blacklists, compliance databases, and administrative penalties, rather than the often depicted idea of every citizen having a constantly changing social score. The reality is more fragmented and varies across regions and government agencies. But see, all the government agencies and regions are gonna be in unison with the B system, right? To where like, hey, everybody's going to be given a social credit score, and the ones that blacklisted are going to be at the bottom of the bottom. They're going to be at 0. You know what I'm saying? And the ones that's, saying little sly remarks in social media, that's speaking about it, speaking against it, or talking against the powers that be through social media, they're going to have a low credit score. You know what I'm saying? Those that have strong opinions, as they will as they would, is gonna frame these people, right? Those with strong opinions or anti-establishment, you know, those individuals that have an that's gonna have anti-establishment stance. They're gonna have low credit scores, and then those that's gonna be sheep, that's gonna comply with the B system and be all for it. They're gonna have higher credit scores, social credit scores. So like, yeah, I'm saying credit scores. No, it's social credit scores. Okay, so the blacklist gonna be at zero. The ones that have a anti-establishment mentality, that's going to be against the system, the B system, they're going to have low social credit scores. And the one that's going to that love the B system and that's going to comply to the B system, they're going to have higher credit scores. Okay, and you're going to see that in even the supermarkets, they're going to do that. That where you're buying things, and what, and they're going to show the price. Oh, eggs, right? Let's say eggs is like $10 for, let's say it's $20, right, for a carton of eggs. Because you have a higher social credit score, your eggs is only $4.99. While those with the lowest social credit score, and they're gonna tell you the amount. Let's say the highest you can go is 800, right? And you at 750, right? I'm just giving a scenario. Of course, I'm not saying that Abba Ratazah, none of us, the Spirit of the Lord be on all of us, never to take the mark. But I'm just giving you an example. Let's say not us, but let's say a person, right? The highest you can go is 800 in America, and a person's social credit score is 750. That means that in the supermarket they buying a carton of eggs, for example, right? It's gonna tell them those, and it's gonna say on the tag, those with a those that have a score, a social credit score close to 800. These eggs, because they're gonna give you a range, so maybe like from 650 to 750, right? Your carton of eggs would be like $4.99. The original price is $20, but those with a high social credit score is paying $4.99 for the eggs, while those with a lower social credit score, let's say that the range is from 650 to 750. So everybody under 650 that goes to the supermarket to buy a carton of eggs, they paying like $20 for the carton. See what I'm saying? So that's how it's gonna be. That's how they're gonna issue those penalties, and that's how that's how these businesses are gonna comply with the powers that be, man. They're gonna give discounts and deals to those with higher social credit scores, and then lead those ridiculous high prices for those that have lower social credit scores. It's gonna be all in your face, man. So, the Lord put that on my spirit to warn you about that. Okay. So let's get into it. This precepts. I know we brought out a lot of information, but I'm gonna start at Revelation 13 and 16. We're in at 17. It says, "And he causeth all," right? Who is the he? That's talking about the beast system. The he is the beast, right? We're dealing with a beast system because NATO and the EU, right, is going to be in agreement with creating the beast system, and it's going to be globalized all around the world. So he is the beast, right, which is referring to the beast system. So it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to perceive a mark in their right hand on their forehead," right, within the beast system, because you're going to be required to comply to the beast system and to receive the mark as a badge of servitude, as a badge of compliance, to show that you're complying with the regulations of the powers that be, that you're complying with the beast system. So everybody in society, whether you're a celebrity and you got it, whether you're rich, whether you're a businessman, whether you're poor, whether you're homeless, whether you're in jail, everybody in society is going to be required to have a RFID chip implanted inside of them. All of it. Okay, and they're gonna force people because the penalty of not getting it is concentration camp, and then deletion. So people is going to comply just with the fear of not wanting to go into a concentration camp, of not wanting to get beheaded, because that's going to be the fate of those that don't take the RFIDC hit, right? The MOTB, they're going to get beheaded. Verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? And that going to the, when it says the name of the beast or the number of his name, going to the Universal Product Code, the UPC, is going to say 666, okay? So I'm going to read verse 18, the last verse. It says, so verse 17 is letting you're not going to be, nobody in society won't be able to buy or sell unless they have it, because it's going to be a digital based currency system. There won't be any paper dollars. All right. There won't be any more, like I said, paper dollars. So everybody going to be issued a universal base income. Everybody going to be given credits, and that's not going to be equal, because the powers that be in the B system can decide who gets what of what. They can decide, oh, the rich and influential get more credits than the poor. You know what I'm saying? But the point being is that you won't be able to buy or sell or even do business in the B system without having this RFID up inside of you. So everybody will be required to, because all businesses are going to do business. They're going to do their businesses and service through it, right? You won't be able to withdraw money out of a bank without it. You won't be able to pay for the gym without it. You won't be able to get your paycheck without it. So everybody's going to be required to get it, okay? And it's going to be forced on people, right? Because like I said before, what's the penalty of not taking it? Are you going to go into a concentration camp and then later be beheaded? Okay. So verse 18, Revelation 3:13-18 says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 Okay, so that's dealing with the Universal Product Code right there. That's dealing with the Universal Product Code, right? And within the Universal Product Code is going to have 666 inside of it. And that Universal Product Code is there to track purchases, man, to identify items and to track purchases. So they're going to be able to track everything and identify everything, label really. They're going to know what is what and be able to track all the purchases with that UPC code, right? It's going to be inside the mark, okay? Okay. So if you don't, so verse 17 letting you know, just to be clear, that if you don't have the RFID chip inside of you, you won't be able to buy or sell anything within the B system, because it's going to be a digital base currency system, right? And verse 18 letting us know that, that's why the scripture said, here is wisdom, all right? Because you need to know this. Here is wisdom. Wisdom means to know. You need to know this. So to apply wisdom is not to take the RFID chip, not to take the mark. That's applying wisdom. Because why would the Lord tell you about the mark if he wasn't trying to warn you about it? That's why there's a movie called Early Warning that came out in 1981. You know what I'm saying? Talking about this topic of the beast system and how they want to put a mark inside everybody. You know what I'm saying? They want to mark the whole world. All right. And in the movie, it had a part of everybody was seeing a barcode that had the number 666 on it, but we understand through the spirit and prophecy that it's the RFID chip, okay? Where it's gonna have that UPC code, and it's gonna have the number 666 inside of it. All right. So Wisdom means to know. So to apply wisdom is to take heed to the warning and not get the RFID hip. Okay, not get the mark. So it said, here's wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and six. So that's the UPC code 666 inside the mark, all right, which is the RFID hip, which is the RFID hip. That's it's gonna have the UPC code, and it's gonna have the number 666 inside of it. All right. Now, what are the consequences of those that do take the mark? Right. This is gonna happen to them. Revelation 14 and 9. It says, look at the subtitle: Doom for worshippers of the beast. So they cooked, they finished. Verse 9, right? Revelation 14:9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice. So this is a message that's coming from the heavens, man. If any man worship the beast, what does it mean to worship? That means you comply with the system. So you comply with this system. If you in agreement with the beast system, if you think it's okay that if you accept that the beast system and the digital which is a digital based currency system, and comply with receiving that mark, then you're gonna be destroyed. It says here, if any man worship the beast, that means compliance. So you comply with the beast system and his image, right? So again, that's compliance. You're complying. You're obeying the law, right? You're obeying the powers that be. You're obeying their regulations and rules, right? And receive his mark in his forehead, okay? His italicized, something with the beast system. So that's that. If you receive the mark, right? Okay, then you in compliance with the beast system. So you accept, which is the NWO, right? They rephrase it as the 2030 agenda, right? But that's really the the NWO, which is the beast system. Okay, so if you down with the NWO, if you accept the NWO, and if you comply with it and get the RFID hip, micro hip inside of you, then this is what's going to happen to you. In verse 10, it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power of God, Slakia. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation, right? Which means righteous anger, because the Lord told you in Revelation 13 chapter, right, not to take it. That's why it says, here is wisdom. So the Lord is letting you know. He's sharing this information. He's sharing with you what the mark is, so that you can be prepared, so that you can identify it, so that you don't take it. So you got to apply wisdom. And what is applying wisdom? Not to take it. Why would the Lord warn you about something and then you just take it? You know what I'm saying? No, he warned you so that you don't take it, so that you know what the mark is, so that you don't take it. Okay? So it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So Yahweh Shah, the angels, are going to watch these people burn, man. All the people that get the RFID micro hip inside of them, including that Neuralink, because that's included, because that's the implantable device that's going into the forehead, that Neuralink, right? And they're gonna call it different names, because different tech companies are gonna put their names on their C-hips, but on their micro C-hips, they RFID micro C-hips. But the point is, it's going in the right hand. It's going inside of you. It's gonna go inside people. It's gonna go inside. It's gonna be underneath their skin, right? In their right hand or in their forehead. Okay, they're going to burn. Okay, and that's going to be by way of ICBM nuclear missiles, and the Lord's going to shoot concentrated laser beams out of his chariots on those people. So they're going to burn badly. Okay, Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So the Lord is not a respecter of persons. So man, woman, and child is going to burn. Okay? And they have no rest day or night, because they're going to be a silhouette of their former selves. It's going, like the scripture say, weeping and gnashing of teeth. They're going to be like, because they burning. Their tongues is melted. The eyelid, their eyes is melted. The tongue melted, and they're not, and they're a silhouette of their former self, man. Okay, they're a silhouette of what they used to be. And they just weeping and they just gnashing like all they doing, they can't even get the screams out, man. They can't get the screams out, and that forever just means a long time. So it's gonna be a while, man. They're gonna be just very, very, very long time. All right, so what is? Let me show you what it looks like, and then we'll close out this lesson. That's at the point. This is it. See? This is what they're gonna put in the right hand. See how it's underneath the skin? All right, that the charagma, that incision. Okay, because they're gonna put it underneath the skin. All right, that's what it looked like. You know, about the size of a grain of rice. See? About the size of a grain of rice. This is what they're gonna put inside of people. All right, this is what they're gonna put in the right hand. Okay, see, in this picture here, you see they got it in both hands. But the point being is that it's gonna be inside people, right? Whether they put it in the right hand or the left hand, it's gonna be inside people. We know they're gonna put it in the right hand, but the point is, it's gonna be on the inside of people. You see the X-ray right there. Look, we got the syringe needle in. Administering the C-hip inside somebody's right hand. See? All evident right there. All evident. The Lord is showing you, man. Okay, let's look at that picture one more time. There it is right there. So, also, I'm going to show you the Neuralink, because that's important. Neuralink. That's the RFID C-hip that's going inside the forehead. Okay, a Neuralink. Right. This is not exactly it, but this is a good visual, because this is the C-hip that they're gonna put inside the forehead. Okay. See, this the one they're going to put inside the forehead. All right, the Neuralink. All right. Yep. See, you already got the neural. See, look, Neuralink reveals result of first human trial, right there. See that Neuralink right in his head. See what I'm saying? There you go. And these are trials. Remember, it hasn't been globalized yet. So there's people already volunteering, worshiping the beast, right? Complying with his image. Already down with the NWO and don't even realize it. You know? This they plan. They want to put the C-hip inside. You know? Inside the brain. Look. Inside your forehead, particularly because that's where the control center of the brain is going to be. So they're gonna improve the Neuralink to where it can go inside your forehead. You know? But the point is they're gonna put it inside your head. Okay? So that's about it. Lord willing, I hit the point, and that is edifying to the lands of sheep and Yahweh Shemel Shai. With that, we say, call Layim, La, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishop of Great Millstone, and salutation to the whole for elect. Shalom, Kwame Asherallah, Ababa Ball, Shalom.